July 29, 1901. Lands reassigned. The United States government initiated the first in a series of land lotteries to distribute former Native American territory in the Oklahoma Territory. This particular lottery focused on the Kiowa, Comanche, Apache Reservation, which had been opened to settlement following federal negotiations and agreements with Native tribes. The event marked a significant moment in American history, representing a new phase in the federal government's efforts to encourage white settlement in the West through the systematic redistribution of indigenous lands. The land involved in the 1901 lottery originated from a series of treaties and congressional actions that ultimately reduced the territory held by the Kiowa, Comanche, and Apache peoples. The most notable legal framework was the Jerome Agreement of 1892, which was later ratified by Congress in 1900. Under the terms of this agreement, approximately 2.8 million acres of tribal land were allotted to individual Native American households. The surplus land, estimated at over 13,000 square miles, was made available to white settlers through a lottery system rather than the earlier land run method previously used in Oklahoma. This change in process reflected a shift in policy. Land runs had been criticized for their chaotic and dangerous nature. In contrast, the lottery method introduced a controlled, bureaucratic system in which potential settlers registered their interest and awaited a drawing to determine whether they would be eligible to claim a homestead. For the 1901 lottery, over 160,000 people registered for the chance to obtain one of the 13,000 available homesteads, each ranging from 160 acres, the standard allotment size under the Homestead Act. The drawings began on July 29 in El Reno, Oklahoma Territory. Officials drew names from rotating barrels under the observation of crowds, journalists, and federal employees. Those whose names were drawn early had first choice of the available lands. Successful applicants had to pay a filing fee and agree to live on and improve the land for a minimum of 5 years, as required by the Homestead Act of 1862. While the process was touted by the federal government as fair and orderly, it occurred against the backdrop of ongoing displacement and dispossession of Native American tribes. The Kiowa, Comanche, and Apache nations had long inhabited these lands, and the forced transition from communal landholding to allotment represented a dramatic reordering of their societies. The Dawes Act of 1887, which served as the foundation for the allotment policy, sought to undermine tribal sovereignty and promote assimilation into Euro-American agricultural models. The 1901 lottery was a direct outcome of these federal objectives. In the years that followed, the redistribution of land further weakened Native political and economic structures. Many allottees were coerced or manipulated into selling their allotted lands to white settlers or speculators, often at below-market prices. As a result, Native Americans lost control of much of their remaining territory within a few decades. By 1934, when the federal government officially ended the policy of allotment through the Indian Reorganization Act, over 90 million acres of former Native lands had passed into non-Native hands. The 1901 Oklahoma Land Lottery thus holds historical significance as a major event in the larger narrative of American expansionism and federal Indian policy. It was a turning point in the mechanisms by which the U.S. government facilitated settlement while simultaneously dismantling indigenous landholdings. It also reflected a broader national attitude that prioritized agricultural development and private ownership over indigenous land rights and communal traditions. In retrospect, the lottery was not merely a bureaucratic land distribution scheme. It was a manifestation of federal policy that continued the long-standing practice of appropriating native lands for the purpose of settler colonialism. While it provided thousands of white Americans with opportunities for land ownership, it did so at the expense of Native communities whose connection to their ancestral lands was severed through legal instruments and administrative processes. July 29th, therefore, stands as a pivotal moment in the transformation of the American West and the legal dispossession of Native nations. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.